Hello again, I'm Bob Colton. We're continuing our conversations in Charlotte Public Schools. Bob Wilson is joining me. Bob, how long have you been around the school district, for heaven's
About
sakes?
200 years.
200 years? You hold the record.
Yeah, a long time.
Long time.
About 21 years, 21 and a half years right now.
That's
Pretty
great.
quick. It'll be 21 and a half.
And as a board member, how has the school district changed over all that time?
Well, there's been tremendous change. When I got on the board, the funding for schools were generated really through locally voted millage, and we've always had financial issues. That's nothing new, but at a time where we maybe could control our financial woes a little bit easier than we are now. And of course, with we're a lot larger school district through most of my term in those early years, and as the population has depleted a little bit here in Michigan and the birth rate's down, financing has changed and really got even tougher now. The other thing is the advent of technology. When I got on the board, we still had true blackboards with chalk dust. Mm-hmm. And now they're walking around with iPads and different things to help them learn. So,
And they've worked, but it's been a big investment.
a tremendous investment, and it will continue to be, because as things change, as you know how quickly with whether it's our iPhones or whatever we're dealing with, the advancement of technology just keeps moving along, and then wear and tear on our equipment. We will have to make significant investments to keep everything upgraded and replaced.
Yeah, but it's an exciting technology for young people, and they really seem to be embracing, because they embrace technology at home or in other places, it as an active learning tool, and the iPad seemed to be a great hit.
Well, tremendous. And you mentioned that the children of the district are really embracing it. Well, they've been embracing it for a long time. We're probably at a point now where the adults are finally catching up to where we feel comfortable in delivering information through the technology. That probably when it first came, we were more interested in having keyboarding classes to help everybody kind of learn about computers.
But as a board member, you're certainly right to think about the cost, because the cost is a pretty major investment, and in an era that had occurred of declining enrollment, it's not like students went someplace else. They just are not in Michigan anymore.
Right.
They didn't go to nearby school districts, they just went away.
Right, and there's evidence of students, a few students here will leave our district, but then we'll gain some students from someplace else. So, the misnomer that we've lost kids because we're not a quotes good district is just incorrect. It's we've lost children because there's less children around.
Right.
Both the birth rate and with the economy being what it has been over the last 10 years, we've lost students.
Charlotte's is like a lot of other districts where enrollment's just gone down because people have moved away from Michigan and population has declined. And people look for jobs. But at the same time, the change has kind of been exciting to deal with. You've had to make a lot of very difficult decisions on investing in the future. But in all of those years, education's been a challenge, and board members have dealt with it.
Oh yes, and it will continue to be a challenge.
Yeah.
It just is.
And so, as a board member, what do you tell people about how important public education is?
Well, public education is our key to the future, not only for our children, but frankly for us, because they're going to have to build and support the infrastructure that helps us as we more senior people start retiring, those type of things. But education, we're in a world economy, and when you're in that and you talk to students from around the world. We have some foreign exchange students, for example, here. It's interesting to see what their requirements are versus our requirements. And, you know, there's some pretty aggressive educational plans. Now, what we do very well here is we do we do our programs for everybody. We don't take children at a certain age and say, okay, you kids are college bound, you kids are, bound to be plumbers, electricians, and then you kids over here will probably do very manual, minimum type tasks. So, we don't do that, so we do offer our education for everybody. And it's very important that we continue down that line.
Yeah, and people have responded in this community by being very supportive of the school district, haven't they?
Yes, they have. Overall, they've been very, very supportive.
Yeah. Why do you think that is? Why do you think it's not a unique attitude, but it's a very strong sentiment of supporting the local schools?
Well, I think it's a matter of the majority of people realize that the children are our future, and we owe them everything to try to give them the best possible education we can. And by doing that, they will be successful. Hopefully they'll be able to have good jobs and raise their families successfully and continue to support the schools and keep the cycle going.
Hey, as a longtime school board member, you did mention the difference of funding education locally and then at the state level. And the state has not kept up with increasing costs for school districts. So that's got to be a big concern for any board member.
Well, it's a huge concern. And not only have they not been able to keep up with the cost, the other edge of that is there's continually and matter monthly different requirements, and you hear about it right now in the legislature. Oh, we're going to pass a bill that will require schools to do X or schools to do Y. They never talk about giving us extra money for that, and yet the way it's supposed to be is if they require extra things, they're supposed to fund it. But,
Yeah.
but no, you take it out of the money you already have. So you're in essence getting cut back because you're required to do much more or many more things with the money that you do have.
So what do you tell the folks under the Capitol Dome? How can they help schools?
Well, I think there's quite a few things that can happen, and realizing that money's tight, and I don't expect that they have a big vault of money that they just decide that they don't want to give to schools, but I think we have to learn to work smarter. I think they have to learn to be more consistent in what their expectations of the school districts are. If they want people to have local control, then they've got to give the people the tools to do it. If they want to run everything, then that's a different scenario there. But they certainly seem to be very dedicated to local governance of the school districts. Some things that can happen, and this gets real political, but I think we have to, it's time for us to look at ways of working smarter. And I think where schools can help the cause is we need to look at, could be items such as consolidating some services amongst the school districts. I'm not trying to take anybody's identity away from them, but I've said for years, I said all school buses are yellow with a black line on them.
Yeah.
Whether they say Charlotte, Grand Ledge, Potterville, Eaton Rapids, Maple Valley, or Eaton County Schools or State of Michigan schools.
They're all kids in buses.
Right, and there's things that we can do and work smarter. Food service areas, administration areas, payroll, all those type of things could be maybe looked at to work more efficiently. And Charlotte Public Schools is taking an active role in it. We do work with the school district of Potterville in regards to the busing. We do help other districts with our food service programs because we've been very successful with those. So yes, there's some things we can do.
It is amazing how the community has supported this school district in making sure that the money is available through bonding for facilities.
Yes.
And that's a great sense of pride, isn't it?
Yes, yes, yes.
So talk a little bit about what's changed over the years.
Well, since I've been on the board, we have totally renovated the high school. We've just completed that this summer. That was off of I think it was $23.5 million bond issue. We've renovated our elementary schools. Now we're down to 2. We've renovated Weymouth. We built a new middle school that is just a wonderful facility, and the aquatic center, and of course our beautiful performing arts center in CPAC. So we've really upgraded our facilities.
Yeah, and from a perspective of attracting students, it's terrific to attract students who would come to use the facilities from nearby areas. But really, you're providing those facilities for the students that you have here, and they're really enjoying them and have been very successful in using all of those things.
Very much so. And I believe we've attracted students because of our performing arts, because of our aquatic center. Those type of things have really helped in our quality schools, and the iPads, and and on and on and on.
So, as a board member, as you sit back and say, want to be a quality school district, how do you evaluate whether or not the school district's doing better from year to year or time to time? What do you look for? Because you have a lot of experience to share with people about this.
Well, this is sometimes tough because you get some ups and downs. I mean, obviously you look at the scores, you look at the MEPs and all those type of things, but you got to be careful when you take data like that,
Yeah.
because it's a single test on a single day, and when you say, gee, why did the third grade fell backwards? Well, you got to realize it's a whole different set of children.
Yeah.
And then you say, but look at the fourth grade really improved. Well, maybe that class just happens to be as a group, a little stronger class than the class that I first mentioned, the third grade class. So, I mean, those are certain ways that you look at it. You look at how are students doing that have gone on to secondary education. How have some of our students performed in careers? And I don't want to use their names, but I have some good data that we've got some people that are very successful all over the world.
Yeah.
We've got doctors, we've got lawyers, all the things that people talk about, and we have some great teachers, and we have some homegrown teachers that are teaching in our school system that were products of Charlotte Public Schools.
And that's a great sense of accomplishment, because the teaching profession has been really, or at least felt under attack for a number of years, and it's hard for teachers to get excited about teaching when they face a lot of challenges about pay or benefits or the constant strain of funding that districts have gone under. So you must feel good about having quality teachers who love to be here.
And we really do. We have some great teachers, people that have dedicated their lives here, and I'm thrilled to know them and be around. Now, there's issues as far as obviously negotiations, those type of things, but I think we have a good relationship with our group of teachers. I really do, as a whole.
And so, what do you tell students? What do you tell families about some of their teachers? They're really, a lot of them homegrown, as you've said,
Right.
but they're as good as any teacher anywhere in the world.
Right. And I always say, we didn't hire teacher Y because they came from Charlotte. We hired teacher Y because they were the best available teacher for the job that we had, and by the way, they happened to come from Charlotte.
Yeah.
So
you must be excited about the energy, though, that goes on in this school
Very
district.
much so.
There are a lot of people who are excited to work in here, and so with that sort of energy, what do you tell parents about the public school system?
Well, I tell them, there's always the misnomer that there's problems in public schools, and there certainly are. I mean, we are a cross of society, but I think we offer good programming for the children. We try to take care of them. I think most parents would, at the end, say, it really was a good experience for our children. Yes, we have an issue from time to time. We try to deal with it and move on. And overall, I think they would get an excellent education. And as an individual who happened, I'm not originally from Charlotte, I'm originally from Duluth, Minnesota. Well, I went to 12 years of parochial school. Mm-hmm. And, I don't see that any way that our general ed in the product that we put out is anything less than what they can put out. Now, they may have some societal issues that we might have more of than they do, but we're certainly very capable of delivering a good educational package.
So why does anybody in the world, Bob Wilson, want to be a school board member?
I've often asked myself this. It is a challenge. First of all, if I always said, you come to the board meeting and there's nobody in the room, things are going well.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to hear you. I mean, they don't want to, they don't want, meetings can be long and very often tedious, and there's a lot of data and this sort of thing that goes on. If I come in and the chamber's full, well, then obviously there's some issues that are there. And, but I get great satisfaction in being a board member because I feel this is the way I can contribute. Mm-hmm. I probably wouldn't be a good coach,
Really? Now, why do you say that?
Well, I probably wouldn't.
But
I could probably be a referee. I could probably do that. But there's, this is my way to contribute. When I first got on the board, I had a son that was in elementary. I had one daughter in the middle school and one daughter at the high school. Well, now they're, my oldest daughter is 40 years old, and, times have changed, but, I really felt this was my way of getting involved and helping make the schools stronger and better. And so I think overall I have.
Why have you been a school board member for so long?
Well, that's a good question. I did have about 4 years off in the middle of it, but I just feel that there's issues, and I hope that there's good people that will run for the school board, but you need people that can look to an overview, and when you get an individual that runs for the board for a single issue, 9 out of 10 times that board member will not be successful, because either they'll harp to only get and then they've got to convince 3 other people. Mm-hmm. And that can be very difficult to do. And then they get frustrated and really don't participate well as a group. Well, you need to come together as a group. You may not agree with each other.
You need a board working together, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
If you've got constantly, we can criticize when there's a lot of 7-0 votes, but if you're always having 4-3 votes, there's issues.
Sure.
There's not good collaboration within the board.
And you certainly can talk through things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And there's different personalities, there's different ages on the board, and I think that's great.
Yeah.
That's what we need. When I came on, I was kind of one of the young guys. Well, guess what? I'm not one of the young guys anymore. So.
Well, and tell people, most people in town know what you do as in the insurance business, but how has that changed over time? Because you're a prominent community member in a changing industry and a changing district, and there's a lot of change in our world, right?
Well, everything's changing.
Yeah.
It's not unique to the schools. When you have, I'm being an insurance agent, and I can't tell you, when I started as agent, we had a rate book, and we'd go out and take our calculators and figure out a rate, and if we could get within $15 of the premium, we were happy. And now, if you don't have your computer, you can't rate anything, because there's so much data that goes in to quoting a product. So Yeah, it's changed tremendously, and for the most part, for the good. I mean, there's the frustration with everything, whether it's schools, whether it's a local community, whether it's your own personal job.
Sure.
90% of it I love. 10% of it, I'd like to get somebody else to do.
And we always hear about the problems.
Yeah.
Both in an industry or at the school board level, and unfortunately you do have to spend a lot of time problem solving
Yes.
and dealing with those sorts of things.
Sometimes the meetings get long. We had one particular one this last summer in July that was our kind of our retreat, and we started in the morning and at 8 o'clock, and I think I walked out of here about 7:45 at night. Well, it's hard to be real productive through a whole period like that.
Sure.
But that was my longest meeting that I've ever been involved with as a board member. But we've had many 2, 3, 3.5, 4-hour meetings.
Well, what do you see coming up for the school board as well as the school district, Bob?
Well, I think obviously, number one, we're going to have to deal with the budget issues again. Number two, our scores are a concern. We think we can do better than what we're doing right now, and so we need to work on that. The concern over the social, economic issues are tremendous. I mean, we've got kids that, frankly, eat and survive because they go to school, and those type things are issues. How can we be proactive there? How can we be proactive in getting stronger buy-ins from some of the moms and dads to help us help them really support their kids. So yeah, there's issues like that.
And so what do you want people to say about Charlotte Public Schools?
I would hope that they would say what I would say about my own kids. All 3 kids got wonderful educations. 2 have graduated from college. The other young man, whose wife is just finishing up her law degree, is married and is in charge of technology for a huge architectural firm. I mean, he isn't the only one in technology, but it's a worldwide
Sure.
architectural firm. And so our kids all came through this system, and they found their way, and they're doing really very, very well. Very proud of them. And I've got now 3 grandkids. One daughter that has her daughter in right here, a granddaughter, that I'll be going over in a little bit to watch Willy Wonka. And she's one of the Oompa Loompa kids, 5th graders, that was asked to be in the play with the high school. So that's tonight.
Well, that's great. Does she get to fly through the air or anything?
No, she wouldn't be in one of the primary, but she's quite a little performer, and the arts are very important to her. So.
Well, Bob Wilson, thank you for your time and sharing your knowledge with people in this community and your dedicated service. I'm Bob Colt, and we'll continue our conversations in Charlotte Public Schools.